This block weighs 9 tons. It's just one piece of rock. See what you can do with one hand?
In Homestead, Florida, Edward Leedskalnin built Coral Castle, moving more than 1,000 tons of stone by himself. No machines, no crew. Just one man and a mystery that baffled engineers for decades, for years. Theories swirled around magnetism, lost technology, and secrets carried from ancient civilizations. Yet Edward never spoke, leaving only cryptic pamphlets behind. His final paper may hold the truth he guarded until the end. How did one man achieve the impossible? Was Coral Castle a scientific breakthrough, a cover for something darker, or both? Edward's last words reveal more than anyone expected. One man's monument of love and mystery. For centuries, humanity has marveled at colossal structures that were built in a time long before cranes, trucks, or modern machinery existed. Stonehenge in England and the pyramids of Giza in Egypt remain symbols of ingenuity and mystery, challenging humans' understanding of what ancient civilizations could accomplish. While their presence and the message they pass across has left people curious, their construction has raised countless questions. How did people move massive stones with no advanced tools? What techniques allowed them to carve, lift, and align enormous blocks with such precision? While research continues to shed light on these achievements, another monument, far from the deserts and plains of the Old World, tells a completely different story. Unlike the cryptic messages for humanity and maintenance of order passed by the Stonehenge and Georgia Guidestones, the Coral Castle tells a story of dedication, obsession, and heartbreak, all in the subtropical landscape of Florida. Hidden amid the leafy streets of Homestead, just south of Miami, is the Coral Castle, a site that could almost be mistaken for a piece of ancient history. Unlike the sprawling pyramids or the circular arrangement of Stonehenge, this monument is small in scale, but immense in intrigue. At first glance, the Coral Castle resembles a ruined temple or a forgotten megalithic garden. Its jagged coral stones, some weighing several tons, are arranged in shapes both functional and fantastical. A sundial to mark the hours, a towering obelisk, a heart-shaped table, chairs carved to cradle the human form, and a gate so precisely balanced that a single push causes it to swing open effortlessly. Every feature feels deliberate, as if each stone were placed to tell a story, or perhaps to guard one. The true marvel lies in the fact that every inch of this site was created by a single person, Ed Leedskalnin, a Latvian immigrant who arrived in the United States in the early 20th century.
That is so difficult to explain how this guy could do this all by himself, at night working, building, with nobody knowing, everybody trying to gossip and everybody trying to spy on him, but nobody ever saw him.
Standing against the odds, Leedskalnin embarked on a mission that would consume decades of his life. Working alone, mostly at night, he carved, shaped, and arranged over 1,000 tons of coral rock. To make the feat even more astonishing, he eventually relocated his entire creation from its original home in Florida City to its present site in Homestead, a move that defies conventional explanations given the sheer size and weight of the stones. Leedskalnin was a man driven by heartbreak, whether fueled by sorrow, longing, or an obsession with the mysteries of the natural world. His dedication is evident in every carefully placed stone. Visitors are left to wonder how one man managed to cut, lift, and assemble such enormous rocks without the aid of modern equipment. Some claimed he had discovered the secrets of magnetism or leverage unknown to contemporary engineers, while others suggest that his methods remain entirely mysterious, a blend of ingenuity, intuition, and perhaps sheer willpower. A secret he supposedly detailed in what some call Edward Leedskalnin's last paper, a document that purports to reveals the truth about Coral Castle, yet its contents only seem to deepen the enigma. Walking through the Coral Castle today, the air is thick with awe. Each stone seems to defy gravity, each carving a silent testament to one individual's commitment. The swing of the massive gate, the perfection of the obelisk, and the delicate curves of the tables and chairs all speak to a mind fascinated by balance, proportion, and precision. Unlike the pyramids, which were the product of large workforces over decades, the Coral Castle is a personal monument, a physical diary etched in stone that reflects love, loss, and perseverance. Who exactly was the man behind this monument, and what fueled him to build something so exceptional? The Leedskalnin behind the Coral Castle. Edward Leedskalnin was born in Latvia in 1887. His life is full of mystery, mostly because of the strange monument he built in Florida called Coral Castle. As a young man, he fell deeply in love with a girl 10 years younger than him. Sadly, she left him at the altar. Heartbroken, he left Latvia and moved to the United States. He worked hard jobs like a lumberjack and cowboy, but later became sick with tuberculosis. To get better, he moved to Florida, where the warm weather helped him recover. After settling in Florida, Leedskalnin bought a piece of land and began building a huge stone monument as a way to honor the love he had lost. He called it Rock Gate at first. The monument had a giant 9-ton gate and many detailed carvings. Leedskalnin worked completely alone. Despite being small and working without modern machines, he moved and shaped massive coral stones, some weighing several tons. His work amazed everyone and still puzzles people today. In 1936, he moved his project to a new location in Homestead, Florida, about 10 miles from the first site. Over the next 3 years, he carefully moved every stone to the new place. Leedskalnin made a little money by showing visitors around the site, but he mostly lived alone. He also wrote a few unusual booklets about magnetism and the universe, which shows how curious he was about how the world works. Some believe these ideas might explain how he moved the huge stones. He also rearranged the stones to create different rooms, including a bedroom, bathroom, dining area, children's playroom, and a throne room with large rocking chairs meant for himself, skuvst, and a small child. Despite the massive size of the stones, he moved and positioned every piece entirely by himself. When asked how he accomplished such incredible feats, Leedskalnin often said he knew the secret of the pyramids. The true methods remain a mystery. The furniture and stone pieces show no clear tool marks, yet some elements, like the 9-foot front gate, could be moved with just a push of a finger. Solid stone rocking chairs were so finely balanced that even a small child could rock them easily. Coral, being porous, is much lighter than it looks, which may have made it easier for him to lift and shape. Still, the precision and scale of the work are astonishing for a single man working alone, and the mystery continues to capture the imagination of visitors and scientists alike. The mystery of Coral Castle comes from the size and precision of the stones. No one knows exactly how he did it. Some think he used clever tools and pulleys, while others suggest he knew some secret trick or force. He never explained his methods, leaving people to guess. Every part of Coral Castle, from the balanced gates to carved furniture and stones lined up with the stars, shows careful planning and patience. When Leedskalnin died in 1951, only the gravediggers attended his funeral. He had lived a quiet, lonely life. But the monument he left behind still attracts people from all over the world. Coral Castle is more than just large stones. It is a symbol of love, determination, and mystery. It asks questions. How could one small man move such heavy stones alone? Why did he spend so many years on it? Most of all, why did he build it at all? The answer seems simple: love. His lost love pushed him to make something that would last forever. Unveiling the secrets of the monument. Coral Castle has puzzled people for decades, mostly because of its creator, Ed Leedskalnin. He was a small man, just 5 feet tall, and weighing around 100 pounds. Yet, he somehow moved and shaped over 1,000 tons of coral rock by himself. Some of the stones weigh as much as 30 tons. His tools were simple, mostly ropes, pulleys, winches, and a few hand tools. He worked mostly at night and never let anyone watch, which added to the mystery, leading many to wonder if Edward Leedskalnin's last paper reveals the truth about Coral Castle and the methods he took to his grave. The answer may lie in a series of self-published, cryptic pamphlets he wrote, the most crucial being his final treatise on magnetic current. Within its pages, Leedskalnin doesn't just theorize. He explicitly details the fundamental force he claimed to have harnessed, describing a world perpetually flowing with 2 streams of invisible particles he called North and South Pole individual magnets. He claimed that by understanding the precise interaction of these currents, one could manipulate the very atomic structure of matter and neutralize weight itself. Over the years, people have come up with wild ideas about how he did it. Leedskalnin himself hinted at secrets inspired by the ancient Egyptians. Some theories suggest he used magnetism, levitation, or even energy from ley lines to move the massive stones. A more realistic explanation is that he mastered the use of pulleys. Compound pulleys, which have been used for thousands of years, can make lifting very heavy objects possible. Leedskalnin grew up on a farm and likely learned skills like stonemasonry from his father. He may have combined simple machines with clever tricks, careful planning, and a lot of patience to move the enormous rocks. Even though no one knows for sure how he did it, that doesn't take away from his incredible achievement. Every stone, gate, and sculpture shows careful thought and hard work. Coral Castle is a lasting symbol of Ed's devotion, creativity, and determination. It continues to amaze visitors, who can only marvel at how one man, with no modern machinery, could build such a remarkable monument. The true method may remain a secret forever. What are some of the most remarkable features of the Coral Castle? The beauty of the monument. One of the most remarkable features of Coral Castle is its enormous gate, made from a single coral block weighing 9 tons. The stone is perfectly balanced on its center of gravity and rests on an iron rod set into an automobile gear. Amazingly, this massive block can be pushed open with just one finger. Some visitors even report feeling strange sensations such as headaches while standing near the gate, suggesting it sits on an energy vortex or a powerful planetary grid point. One of the most famous features is the 9-ton revolving gate. For decades, it could be pushed open with just one finger. Engineers later found it perfectly balanced on an old truck bearing, resting on a small stone of unknown origin. Leedskalnin accomplished this alone, a feat that today would require multiple people and heavy machinery. Over the years, many theories have tried to explain how Leedskalnin moved these giant stones alone. One of the more unusual ideas involves sound. Some claim he used cone-shaped devices that could produce sound waves strong enough to lift the stones, a concept similar to the theories about how the Egyptian pyramids were built. Ancient sculptures from Egypt, Sumer, and Babylon show cone-shaped objects that some believe were used to manipulate energy or sound, hinting that such techniques might have existed thousands of years ago. While many speculate, the contents of Edward Leedskalnin's last paper are often cited by researchers as potentially holding the key that reveals the truth about Coral Castle and his methods. While sound-based levitation is an exciting idea, more practical explanations suggest Leedskalnin relied on simple machines. Pulleys, winches, and levers, combined with careful balance and planning, could explain how he moved such heavy coral blocks. The coral itself is surprisingly light because it is porous, which may have made the task easier. Still, the precision of the work, with no visible tool marks, continues to amaze scientists and visitors alike. Similar mysteries surround other ancient stone structures. For example, the massive 1,650-ton Stone of the Pregnant Woman in Baalbek, Lebanon, was partly moved for a Roman temple, but abandoned. In another life, when the news of Leedskalnin's monumental tribute reached Agnes, the whispers from America of a man who had left everything to build a stone castle with his bare hands were first dismissed as tall tales. But when the reports became more detailed, mentioning the name of his lost love, the reality of it settled over her. Rumors would later swirl for decades, with some claiming Edward Leedskalnin's last paper reveals the truth about Coral Castle. But for Agnes, the simple, painful truth was already clear. It was all for her. The truth of her life in Latvia was far from the tragic, romantic narrative spun across the ocean. After she broke the engagement, Agnes's life had continued with an unremarkable steadiness. She had married a local man, a pragmatic and kind-natured farmer named Juris. Their union was one of shared purpose, not the consuming passion Ed had idealized. Together, they navigated the slow rhythm of the agricultural seasons, their hands calloused from the same hard work as their ancestors. They had a son, then a daughter, and built a modest home that was filled with the simple, joyful chaos of a young family. As the years passed, Ed's story and her part in it became a private, surreal secret. While he was in Florida, moving mountains of stone in a feat of lonely endurance, Agnes was in Latvia, tending to her garden, baking rye bread, and mending clothes. The stories of his creation, filtered through secondhand news or relatives of emigrants, were a persistent echo from a world she had left behind. She heard of the massive gate that could be moved with a fingertip, the celestial objects carved from rock, and the giant throne intended for her. The news that Ed was calling the place Rockgate Park and that it was open to the public brought a cold wave of anxiety. Her secret was no longer just a memory, but a monument, a public spectacle. The empty throne, carved just for her, was a daily reminder of the path she did not take, and now it was a piece of lore for American tourists. To Agnes, it was not a testament of love, but a physical representation of her decision. It was a bizarre, heavy weight in a different hemisphere, tying her to a past she had deliberately unspooled. The final decisive news came much later, in the form of a newspaper article in 1983, stating that a manager at Coral Castle had discovered Agnes was still alive in Latvia. By then, she was an elderly woman, a widow, with grandchildren who saw her only as their kind, quiet grandmother. Juris had passed away years before, and her days were filled with the simple routines of old age. The past was a distant, hazy memory. When presented with the article, her reaction was muted, displaying a weariness that transcended her age. She reportedly said, "I did not want to marry him then, and I still do not." This statement was not bitter, but a simple acknowledgement of reality. Ed's narrative was a fairy tale of lost love. Her life, however, was a story of quiet contentment, fulfilled duty, and a choice made long ago. Ed's grand, stone-carved romance belonged to a different person in a different time. For Agnes, the empty throne in Florida was, and remained, empty. She had already chosen her path, building a meaningful life of daily existence, family, and peace. Edward Leedskalnin carried his secret to the grave, but his writings keep the mystery alive. Did he unlock a force of nature that science still refuses to explain? Or has Coral Castle been hiding an even darker truth? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, Click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.